Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know from around the world this Monday, January 2nd, 2023. The start of the new year at Vatican was overshadowed by the death of former Pope Benedict XVI. The Vatican releases the first photos of the former Pope's body after he died at the age of 95 on New Year's Eve. He is dressed in red and gold liturgical vestments while laying in state at St. Peter's Basilica. Pope Francis presided a mass in the same church where Benedict's body will stay for 3 days of public viewing starting Monday. In his homily, the current pontiff entrusted the soul of his predecessor to the Blessed Virgin Mary. Francis also appealed for peace in war-torn countries, including Ukraine, where Russia continued intense attacks on New Year's Day.
Buongiorno e buon anno. In queste ore invochiamo la sua intercessione, in particolare per il Papa Emerito Benedetto XVI, che ieri mattina ha lasciato questo mondo. Ci uniamo tutti insieme, con un cuore solo e un'anima sola, nel rendere grazie a Dio per il dono di questo fedele servitore del Vangelo e della Chiesa.
Former Pope Benedict XVI was regarded as one of the world's most brilliant theologians and powerful churchmen in the last 50 years. Let's take a look back at his legacy in this report by the Associated Press.
Pope Benedict XVI's 7-year tenure as spiritual leader of the world's 1.2 billion Roman Catholics was marked by controversy and reform. He also had the challenge of replacing the much-beloved Pope John Paul II. Benedict was born Joseph Ratzinger in Bavaria, Germany on Holy Saturday, 1927. At age 14, he was conscripted into the Hitler Youth, as were all children his age in Nazi Germany. After World War II, he studied to become a priest, spending 3 decades near the top of the church hierarchy. Benedict was elected pope in 2005 after John Paul's passing. From the onset, Benedict's papacy promoted a conservative agenda on abortion, euthanasia, and priest celibacy. Although he led the Catholic Church's foray into social media, Benedict may be remembered most for his stance on sexual abuse by priests. It was the leading issue during his tenure.
We are deeply ashamed, and we will do all the possible that this cannot happen in future.
He defrocked nearly 400 priests over 2 years for sexually molesting children. And for the first time, the Vatican issued explicit written guidelines telling bishops to report abuse to police. The Pope also held tearful meetings with victims to offer solace. His tenure was not without missteps. Just a year into his papacy, Benedict angered the Muslim world by quoting from a medieval text. The text characterized some of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad as evil and inhuman. He soon apologized for any offense and made a rare visit to Istanbul's Blue Mosque. 2 years later, on his way to Cameroon, the Pope declared that condoms were not Africa's answer to AIDS. Critics challenged Benedict's rationale in a region hit hard by the AIDS epidemic. He eventually said condoms could be used in limited circumstances. During Benedict's tenure, Latin American Catholics, once among the Church's strongest base, left in droves to become evangelical Protestants. He challenged bishops from Mexico to Chile to stem the tide. Like the 264 popes before him, Benedict's chief aim was inspiring faith.
Young people in particular, I appeal to you. Bear witness to your faith through the digital world.
He was the first pope to embrace new media as a tool of inspiration, launching a YouTube channel, an iPhone application, and a Facebook page. At age 85, citing his deteriorating health, Benedict resigned as head of the Roman Catholic Church in February 2013.
Grazie, buonanotte. Grazie.
He was the first pope in nearly 6 centuries to resign from the position. While he lacked his predecessor's flair, religious scholars say Benedict's legacy is as the first true 21st century pope, reaching out to the faithful in new ways while holding tight to tradition. Walter Ratliff, The Associated Press.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News World. You're still watching One News World. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Revelers from around the world ring in the new year with bigger celebrations following muted festivities in the last 2 years. In Dubai, the world's tallest building, Burj Khalifa, staged a spectacular lights and fireworks display. It also flashed Happy New Year in various languages like Arabic, Chinese, and English during the 10-minute show. Thousands of people also gathered at the New York's Times Square in the United States to welcome the new year. The celebration saw midnight kisses, fireworks displays, and the traditional ball drop during countdown. In London, the iconic Big Ben, or the Great Clock of Westminster, fired the starting gun for a breathtaking fireworks display. It included a tribute to the late Queen Elizabeth II and showed solidarity with war-torn Ukraine. A fireworks display was staged over at Victoria Harbour in Hong Kong on New Year's Eve. Many Hong Kong residents came to the harbour to watch the New Year countdown celebrations. As 2023 arrives, fireworks exploded over the tops of skyscrapers on Hong Kong Island in a splendid light show. Meanwhile, Ukrainian soldiers at the trenches of the Eastern Front Line welcomed the new year with sadness and resolve as they remember the fallen and vow to fight till victory. Bombardment and air raids marked the start of 2023 for Ukraine as Russia continued intense attacks on the country on New Year's Day following a barrage of missiles fired on New Year's Eve. And despite a surge in COVID cases in China, tens of thousands of revelers celebrated the New Year in central Wuhan, where the pandemic began 3 years ago. The crowds were watched by hundreds of police officers and other security personnel on what was the first large-scale gathering on the city streets since lockdown protests in late November. Many released balloons into the sky when the clock struck midnight. And here are the other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called for developing new intercontinental ballistic missiles and a large nuclear arsenal to counter US-led threats. This comes amid cross-border tensions over last week's intrusion by North Korean drones into the south. Over in Uganda, these 9 people, including a 10-year-old boy, suffocated to death as crowds rushed to see a New Year's firework display. Police say the victims got stuck in a narrow corridor in a shopping mall as people pushed through the passage after a clock struck midnight. And in showbiz, South Korean stars Lee Jong-suk and IU are officially in a relationship, as confirmed by their agencies. Entertainment news outlet Dispatch revealed that the K-drama stars have been dating for around 4 months. And those are the world's top headlines of the hour. Join us again at 7:30 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register an account now at signalplay.com.ph so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos. We are One News, all sides, all the time.